If I just started going through the Republicans that sit on this committee briefly, I would tell you that, Chairwoman, you have 112,000 people that are about to lose SNAP benefits just in your district. I would tell you that it is estimated in your state, as your senators stated, that roughly 651,982 would lose their health care. Or I would tell Rep. Fishbach that 67,000 people on SNAP, and in the entire state of Minnesota, 173 would lose their health care. I could go on with these numbers, or I could tell you about the fact that even when we look at my state, and I know that Chip Roy sits on this committee, but he's not here right now, but we have 56,000 people that are on SNAP in his district. But in the entire state of Texas, we have 1.6 million people that may lose coverage. And somehow we have 83 billionaires. And somehow they have 535 people that are speaking up for them every single day to make sure that when they get married for a second or third or fourth time, that they can go ahead and have another $50 or $60 million wedding.
She says somehow 83 billionaires have 535 people in Congress fighting for the next $60 million wedding. Now, of course, this is the quote that is going to go viral, but let's be honest. It sounded powerful, rather, because it was designed to. Problem is, the people she's supposed to be fighting for, not impressed. In fact, more and more black voices are stepping up to say, hey, Jasmine Crockett, look, enough is enough. Let's start with what you won't see on MSNBC. I'm sorry, MSNBS. That's probably the correct way to address that. The people calling her out from within the community.
So you mean to tell me that just because I disagree with Jasmine Crockett, I should run for Congress? I have no intention and no desire to run for Congress. But what I do have the desire for is to talk about bullshit that Jasmine Crockett spews every time she gets in front of a mic or a motherfucking podium. It's 2025, and I'm quite shocked that you actually still believe in this woman. You know she's a pawn, right? Okay, she panders to the low, impoverished, black, Democratic fucking vote. Duh. You agree with her because you still have a lack mindset. Man, so we ain't never had nothing. We need this woman. She fighting for us. Us black folks ain't got nothing. What has she done for her motherfucking district? What has she done as a congresswoman but fucking stall? And don't get shit done. And interrupt and don't let shit get done. Like, you want to follow behind this bitch? Talk to the people in the motherfucking community. So you mean to tell me that just...
Now, this is not a Fox News pundit right here. That's a black woman looking around and seeing no progress. Just you got this pageantry going on right now. We were told rather Crockett would fight for the hood. That's what they believe. But the hood's fighting to be heard over her antics right now. And then came a voice straight from the trenches. No filter, no fakery.
And what I find very ironic about all the people in my comments defending Jasmine Crockett is that it's a black girl from the hood in Tampa, Florida that has to tell y'all that that's not the way that we need to be represented. I find that very ironic. You feel what I'm saying? I think that what's going on now is that everybody is figuring out that the black Americans that are from these impoverished neighborhoods are not as slow as they think we are. You feel what I'm saying? You have these college-educated black Americans that are upset because that is the way that we do not want to be represented. I miss the days back when suburban black kids looked down on the hood. They didn't want to be like the black Americans in the hood. They wanted to come and show us other shit like, hey guys, you know, we should be buying the property and everything. There should not be liquor stores everywhere. You know, you guys shouldn't be, is that a Four Loko? You feel what I'm saying? I miss them black American suburban kids. Y'all really think that your people that are from the impoverished neighborhoods are slow, as if this is not how we were living when we were building these things. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's where all the anger comes from. I think that it's just like, how dare you guys? How dare y'all not be easily manipulated? How dare you? How dare you be able to see us trying to fool you? You feel what I'm saying? There's not a day living that is how any black person should want to be represented. Y'all are trying to normalize Trash. This is the reason why y'all defend those dresses. When y'all said poster girl dresses, I didn't know what the name was. I saw them. I said strippers dance in them dresses. Those are starter dance dresses. You throw on some pasties and one of those dresses, and they will know that you are a new dancer for the night. Y'all are trying to normalize this trash, and y'all are trying to make people who don't want to normalize this trash as if they are being anti-black. Nothing about that is anti-black. Don't no white person want some trailer trash white bitch that's still acting like she in the middle of the trailers representing them. Okay, so if it's anti-black that we don't want to be represented that way, then let Kim Zolciak be the voice of white Americans. Let it be Kim. Let Kim be the representation of what white America is.
It's simple. Look, we've gone from marching with dignity to cheering dysfunctional. And if you call it out, you already know what comes with that. Come on now. Say you turned your back on the culture and the community. No, this is someone defending the culture. Demanding that black pride doesn't mean embracing chaos. Because they're not dressing up. Well, Jasmine, I wouldn't say that she dresses down. It's more than a speech. But they're calling out the entire system that rewards the ratchet over results. And then there's the moment where exhaustion meets clarity.
Jasmine, what exactly do you mean Trump should have called you before he struck Iran? Who exactly do you think you are for real? Now, she claims that her intentions are to protect the civil liberties of the underrepresented communities. Oh, and ensure equality for all. Well, my thing is, Ms. Crockett, how can you represent anyone when you have that ratchet mentality, that ratchet behavior? If anything, you're a misrepresentation of the black community with all the insults you spew. And that hood lingo you continue to speak in a professional setting. There's a time and a place for certain behavior, and political events are not the place for that ghetto behavior.
See? It's one thing to be bold. It's another to be belligerent in the name of authenticity. This woman ain't speaking out of hate. I didn't gather that from this. She's speaking as someone who understands. Someone who understands if we don't raise the standard, we lower the bar for everyone watching. But what if Jasmine's behavior isn't a bug? What if it's the blueprint?
If you want to know what Jasmine Crockett thinks of the elderly voters in her district, watch this clip.
So in certain words don't necessarily like work, but my policies work. Mm-hmm. So we will focus on my policies because I don't know how they'll feel about certain words, right? So if I'll be going around and knocking on a door and saying, I'm a progressive, probably not. No. They actually love to hear that I'm a Democrat. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear that I'm a Democrat. And it's really kind of I would say an age thing, so to speak, right? Like It's a generational thing. Voters are going to be older African Americans. They don't know nothing about what a progressive is. They know what a Democrat is, and that's what they want to hear. And so I tell them I'm a Democrat, which I am, and then I talk to them about the work that I think is important. And those things are actually progressive things, right? I'm going to run as Jasmine, who's a Democrat, and I'll talk to you about my policies.
She said it on camera. No shame. She knew the people she needed to win over wouldn't agree with her real beliefs. So she masked up, played the label game, and won by deception. That's not strategy. That's spiritual fraud right there. And why the voters get emotional speeches, they didn't get results.
Ask unanimous consent to amend the rule to make in order the amendment at the desk that protects against any cuts to Medicaid and SNAP.
Gentlelady from North Carolina is not yielded for that purpose, and therefore the unanimous consent request cannot be entertained.
Let me turn the volume up. I knew it was low that time. I got y'all. I want y'all to hear this. Oh, I don't want to play now. Come on now. When flexing goes wrong. Y'all see this? I'm over here trying to flex with the volume. Come on, ain't turn up.
Consent to amend the rule
Okay, there we go now. There we go. Here we go. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all probably like God was saving us some ear space, huh?
ask unanimous consent to amend the rule to make in order the amendment at the desk that protects against any cuts to Medicaid and SNAP.
Gentlelady from North Carolina is not yielded for that purpose, and therefore the unanimous consent request cannot be entertained.
Boom. Even when she tried to fight for the people, Congress entertained nothing. Because you can't burn bridges with clownery and then expect them to help when it matters. Her bold standoff fell flat. She tried to propose an amendment that prevents any cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, and her request was denied. No coalition, no victory, no change. And just when you thought her words couldn't get more reckless,
They just voted to give Trump the ability, legally, to give him the ability to deport U.S. citizens. That is what they voted for. A bunch of elected U.S. representatives. That is how they voted. And
I swear these politicians leave out so much context. They make you fearful that you are going to walk down the street and get swooped up by ICE and sent away to some random country. No, this is about birthright citizenship, which my personal opinion is absolutely ridiculous. We are one of the only developed countries that even offers birthright citizenship because it is so ridiculous. You don't just get to come to a country illegally, break the law 100%, and then pop out a baby and think that that is your golden ticket, that is your anchor child. You are now untouchable. What? That doesn't even make sense. That's not how sovereign nations work. And apparently the U.S. having basic immigration standards that majority of other countries have is absolute cruelty. If someone broke into your house and had a baby, you wouldn't say that that baby now lives there because they were born in that house. No, I'm sorry. You got to go with your mama too. Got other kids to feed. I have other things to worry about. You got to get in line. There's other people that want to move in with me too. Please, people, stop being ridiculous.
seriously. She said they just voted to give Trump the ability to deport U.S. citizens. This is something I keep hearing from the Democrats. And that's just a lie. And it's a dangerous one at that. You don't play with people's feel like that. The Constitution protects birthright citizenship. And she knows it. But when fear equals votes, y'all know that means the truth becomes optional. So what do we have here? A woman with no restraint, no policy wins, no truth, just volume.
Now, let me tell you why I'm here. I'm here fighting for people in my district because Republicans are willing to sell out working and struggling folks in my district. And frankly, there's two, to appease billionaires and big corporations. Now, I know we've had a lot of talk about how much SNAP costs a day, and the fact is that it's only $6 a day that a person gets when they get SNAP benefits, but we've not talked about the cost of Medicaid. It costs approximately $10 a day to ensure a kid gets health care through Medicaid. So we're talking about to take care of kids. Let's say they've got SNAP and Medicaid, only $16 a day. But another thing we've not really put into perspective, we've talked about these billionaires, and we've talked about the fact that this is all to benefit them. No one has talked about how many billionaires we actually have in this country. We have more billionaires in the United States than any other country, but the total number is 83. Last time I checked, we have 435 members in the House, and we have 100 members in the Senate, yet somehow 83 people in this country have more representation than the hundreds of thousands that are about to lose their health care as well as their SNAP benefits. If I just started going through the Republicans that sit on this committee briefly, I would tell you that, Chairwoman, you have 112,000 people that are about to lose SNAP benefits just in your district. I would tell you that it is estimated in your state, as your senators stated, that roughly 651,982 would lose their health care, or I would tell Rep. Fishbach that 67,000 people on SNAP, and in the entire state of Minnesota, 173 would lose their health care. I could go on with these numbers, or I could tell you about the fact that even when we look at my state, and I know that Chip Roy sits on this committee, but he's not here right now, but we have 56,000 people that are on SNAP in his district. But in the entire state of Texas, we have 1.6 million people that may lose coverage. And somehow we have 83 billionaires. And somehow they have 535 people that are speaking up for them every single day to make sure that when they get married for a second or third or fourth time, that they can go ahead and have another $50 or $60 million wedding. Instead of protecting access to these programs, you're cutting them to help billionaires who pay less in taxes than some of the teachers in our country. You claim to want a tax system and budget that helps people, but that's impossible when you're subsidizing tax credits off of the folks who can't even afford to treat their kids or family to a nice meal because federal minimum wage hasn't gone up in 15 years. If y'all want to make a better system, then adopt my amendment number 314 that would require an increase in the federal minimum wage of $15 in order for corporate tax breaks to go into effect. Speaking of wages, this bill doesn't even give the same level of help to people living on tip wages and working overtime just to put food on this table as it does for Trump's billionaire buddies. In fact, the bill only allows no tax on tips and overtime until 2028, and we've talked about this. Listen, this is a joke. This was nothing more than a campaign scheme. This was about saying, you know what, I'm going to make this promise to you. And we can talk about the fact that there have been a lot of promises made, yet a lot of promises broken. In fact, that was one of the reasons it seems like that, Senator Tillis has decided that he's done. And he's going to get out because he understands that there's nothing but broken promises that are being made. I don't really understand what it is that y'all plan to go back and tell your constituents. I'm glad that some of y'all decided to show up. But the reality is that you have sold your constituents out for 83 people in this country. And each of our districts should have approximately 766,000 people. How is it that you can explain that we still are running up the credit card and we have nothing to show for it except for the fact that we won't have food on the tables and we won't have health care? And with that, I will yield.
Sounds powerful until you really listen. Yes, $6 and $10 is low, but she's been in office. Why has she done to raise it? And those 83 billionaires, they don't have 535 people in Congress. That's drama, not math. Please understand that. She's blaming Republicans but her own amendment didn't pass because it didn't meet the budget rules. It was blocked because... Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't blocked, rather, because they hate the poor. I want to make sure I say this correctly. It was rejected because it wasn't written right. And while she's yelling about no taxes on tips, only lasting until 2028, she skips the part where Republicans pushed for it permanently and Democrats blocked it. So ask yourself, is this leadership? Or is this just dressed up concern? What has she actually done as Congresswoman? Nothing but talk? So now what? Stop clapping for speeches and start checking the facts. That's what I say. Stop voting for personality and start demanding policy. Learn what your reps vote for. I don't know. Watch what they say when the cameras are off. And don't fall for the buzzwords, man. Follow the outcomes. This ain't about left or right, y'all. I tell y'all all the time. It's about right versus wrong. This is about results, though. Because next time someone like Crockett shows up screaming, you already know how to ask the only question that matters. What did you actually do? Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.